Hello, Leute. My name is Billy, and I've been learning German for a couple years now. I was doing these reaction videos. I'm still going to do them, but I'm going to do some other things as well. Some original content, if you will. Today I'm going to talk about the three differences between divorce between the United States and Germany. I found only three differences. Most of the laws are about the same, from what I could tell. I only spent a couple hours researching, but yeah. So I'm going to get right into that. First thing I found interesting was that you have to hire a lawyer so they can file for the divorce. Like you can't even do that yourself. Where in the United States, if you want a divorce, you just go down to the courthouse, get the paperwork, fill out the paperwork, and file it yourself. You don't necessarily need a lawyer. It's definitely suggested and highly recommended. For my experience, my spouse didn't have a lawyer, and it was a giant pain in the ass because there was no organization, didn't know what she was doing, didn't know what she was entitled to or not entitled to, so the process went all the way to trial, and there's really nothing she could even do about it. That was kind of funny. Well, not funny. It was expensive for me because I had to pay my lawyer for all of that just to be told that she can't have these things. So I think this idea of having to hire a lawyer, it's a good idea for both parties. It's pretty efficient, which is pretty much standard for the German way of life. Everything seems to be like just to do things more efficient, makes more sense, saves you time and money. That's important. Plus, like I don't know the law. I can barely even speak the law language as it is. Even a simple question gets turned into words and phrases in ways that you're just like, what? But it's definitely better to have somebody represent you that can speak for you or tell you how to answer these questions anyway. There's definitely more. It's definitely better to have a lawyer, like someone to represent you. Probably in any case. I don't go to court often. I'm not a criminal yet. Still working on that. Yeah, I don't know. I think just getting a lawyer is definitely a better idea. So I like how they decided that you must have a lawyer to even file. Like you can't even file it yourself. The second thing that I found interesting is a thing the Germans call a Trennungsjahr. It's a mandatory year of separation before your divorce. And of course, there's exceptions to this law. If your spouse is cheating or has an affair that's lasted a couple months, then they can expedite the process. If you're in an abusive relationship, they can expedite it as well. And then the other ones, if you get somebody pregnant or if your spouse ends up pregnant by somebody else, then the divorce can go through without this year's separation. And I guess it starts. I guess what I've read, it starts is that it starts when like they change of address, they move out, take their joint account and separate it. Do all Germans have joint accounts? Is that like a normal thing? This is what I was read. I don't know how it really works, but I'm curious. I know that in America, it's not always common that couples have joint accounts. It seems like in the first marriage, if you're young, it's definitely joint because it just makes more sense. It makes things easier to pay bills, just pulling from one account. But as I get older and like the relationships my buddies and friends are in, their second time or third time around, they seem to have separate accounts, and it's worked out a lot better for them. So I was curious about that. And yeah, the Trennungsjahr. So yeah, you have to be separated for a year before you can get divorced, which is kind of crazy. We definitely don't have that in America. Like if you want to get divorced, you're going to get divorced, even if the other party doesn't agree or doesn't want anything to do with it. They might not even know it's coming, but they're going to get served, and it's going to happen. And definitely don't have to be separated. We do have legal separation though that you can do. And in some states like mine, the day that you change your address or move away is your separation day. You don't have to file for a legal separation. That's the other crazy thing too that I learned is like in Germany it seems to be like more of a federal law. Like all the states are the same, they follow the same guidelines. Where in America we kind of go by state. Each state does a different thing, but it's kind of a set standard. But their states do things a little bit differently when it comes to like separating property and real estate and who owns what, who brought what to what table. That changes a little bit. Yeah, I think separating for a year is kind of crazy if you think about it, because you got to be separated for a whole year, but yet you're still married. Like, what do you do? How do you can you move on if you're still kind of stuck with this person? Stuck. I mean, yeah, it is stuck. You're stuck, bro. There's no getting out of it. I don't know if I agree with this idea or not. Like, I'd rather just end it and be done with it and not have to worry about it. Because some divorces can be done in 90 days. but you have to wait. You can start filing for your divorce towards the end of this year of separation. Is what I've read. Which I don't know. That's kind of crazy, but probably efficient. It probably stops a lot of people from getting divorced if you think about it. Like, what's the point? Like, still got to deal with you for a year. I don't know. That's probably a good idea. It's probably for the best. Like, logically, it makes sense. The third thing I found interesting has to do with separation as well. But if your spouse doesn't agree with the divorce or doesn't want the divorce, it's a mandatory 3-year separation. That's a long time to be separated from somebody just because they decide that they don't want it. And again, the separation counts as soon as you separate bank accounts, get different addresses. And if you can't move, then you have to live in the same house. You have to have separate rooms and basically live separate lives. That's the rule. And you have to prove that somehow. Which is kind of wild. Like, and all your spouse needs is a reason that they don't want to end the divorce. And yeah, you're stuck in a 3-year transition period, I would call it. That's a long time, dude. What do? You can't. I mean, I don't even know. Separation and divorce aren't the same exactly, according to what I've read. But 3 years that's crazy. That's a long time to be stuck with somebody you've already decided to get divorced with, and there's going to be conflict because he already knows that you don't want to, or the other person already knows you don't want to be with them. But they still kind of want to hold out. Do you think they do that for a grudge, maybe? Like, I'm gonna make this guy just suffer for 3 years. It'll be fine. I think it's just crazy. I don't know. I definitely don't agree with that. Like, if one person's ready to get divorced, then there's no point in waiting 3 years. And like I said, in America, you want a divorce, you get divorced, whether the other party wants to or not, contested or uncontested. It's gonna happen. That's just kind of what 3 years. Dude. It's probably why you see a lot of angry old German men. Dude. Like they're trying to get divorced. They're stuck in their 3-year hiatus, walking around the streets all mad, stressed out too. I'm sure it's expensive because you have to have a lawyer the whole time. No, not until you file for divorce. You have to get a lawyer. But dude, that's a really long time. Like, how do you move on? Maybe that's what they're doing. You got an ugly spouse, and they're like, you ain't going nowhere. It's kind of wild, dude. Kind of wild. But I mean, overall, they're all about the rules and laws are about the same. The only differences are these separations and the fact that you must hire a lawyer, which is definitely a much more efficient way to do it. I agree with most of it. I mean, I don't know about 3 years though. That's quite a bit of time just for a bitter person. Like, if one person doesn't want to be in it, why hold them against their will? It's like a prison sentence, which is basically marriage anyway, in the long scheme of things, in my opinion. Right? Some people enjoy it. I don't. I'm good, man. I'm a bachelor for life. I'm done. A re-bachelor or whatever you want to call it. I'm single forever. Dud. Anyway, I think it's a good idea. Definitely the lawyer thing. Definitely is a good idea. But as far as like child support and alimony and all that stuff goes, it's basically the same process, you know. And they do 50-50. You get to keep what you brought into the marriage, though. I did read that. I'm not sure if the United States does that or not. See, I don't have any of those issues, so we didn't have to really go into any of that for mine. But yeah, I mean, everything else is about the same. The costs are, I think it's more cheap. It's actually less expensive in Germany from looking at the prices because they only give you averages. Of course, each case is different because in the law, nothing's the same. Nothing. Everything's changing. No two divorce courses are the same, they'll tell you. I don't know, man. Have any of you guys been through a divorce? I'd like to hear about it. Like, or not all the details, just like the process. You don't have to tell me. Like, I don't need to know any of that stuff. It's your business, not mine. I'm just curious. If you like videos like this or anything else, let me know. Anything else, like any crazy differences in laws between the United States and Germany, I'm interested in that too. You can follow me on X at Billy_B_gaming and obviously on YouTube. Subscribe. I'm going to start doing more videos like this. I like to react stuff, but I can't just do that every day. It's kind of old. That's going to be it. The 3 differences are you got to get a lawyer, 1-year mandatory separation if both parties agree to the divorce, and then 3-year mandatory if one party does not want the divorce. And of course, there's probably loopholes. There's always loopholes in the law. It's just how that works. But yeah, until next time.